Dear students, just now we have discussed about cellular adaptation, which was because of altered physiologic stimuli or non-lethal stimuli, right? When cell will be exposed to the lethal stimuli, then adaptability of cell will be lost and cell injury will happen, right? What I said, adaptability means cellular adaptation. There is a limit of cellular adaptation. So when stimulus is beyond that limit, cell injury will start. And now we are going to discuss about cell injury, which is caused by lethal stimuli, right? So now we are going to discuss about cell injury. Cell injury. As I have told you earlier, cell injury is due to lethal stimuli, right? What is the most common cause of cell injury? Examiner asked this question, what is the most common cause of cell injury? So now we will see most common cause of cell injury. So what is the most common cause of cell injury? Loss of blood supply, right? So when there is a loss of blood supply, what is that called as? Ischemia, right? So most common cause of cell injury is ischemia. Most common cause of cell injury is ischemia. What happened in ischemia? As I said, blood flow will be reduced. How blood flow is reduced will induce cell injury? Because blood is a source of oxygen. So when oxygen is not given to a tissue, definitely tissue will be having damage. That cell will be having damage which is present inside that tissue. So this ischemia causing hypoxia is the reason for cell injury, right? So ischemia causing hypoxia. So ischemia causing hypoxia is the most common cause of injury. So any cell injury, most common cause will be ischemia or hypoxia, right? So note it down. This is important MCQ in exam. Hypoxia or ischemia is the most common cause of injury, right? So ischemia or hypoxia is the most common cause of any cell injury, right? Now the question comes to our mind, okay, when there is a hypoxia, what could be the mechanism of all these cell injury? Means who is causing all these damages? What are the source of damages due to hypoxia ischemia, right? So here I will tell you, because of the ischemia or hypoxia, they will induce oxidative stress on the mitochondria. So this hypoxia ischemia will be putting oxidative stress on whom? As I said, on mitochondria. So oxidative stress will be produced over the mitochondria, and because of the oxidative stress present on the mitochondria, what will happen? They will produce free radical, and this is important. They will produce free radicals, and free radicals are the source of injury in our cell. So what I wanted to tell you, ischemia hypoxia is promoting more free radical production, which will cause cellular damage or cell injury. What are these free radicals? So now we will discuss about free radicals. So we are going to discuss about free radicals. So next topic we are going to see here is the free radical, right? So the question is, what are free radicals? Free radicals, one should know that free radicals are also known as, what are the other name of free radical? It is also known as oxidant, oxidants, right? Also known as one more name. One name is oxidant, another name is ROS, reactive oxygen species. Reactive oxygen species, right? So these are two important other names of the free radical, right? Oxidants or reactive oxygen species. So we are talking about cell injury. Cell injury is because of ischemia, hypoxia. They are putting stress on the mitochondria. They are going to produce free radical, and this free radical is causing cell injury, right? So that is important to understand. This free radical will be causing cell injury. So now this question is about free radical. Are they normally produced in our human body? Question is, are they normally produced? Are free radical normally produced in our human body? Yes or no? Yes, they are normally produced because of the incomplete respiration occurring inside the mitochondria, right? So because of incomplete respiration, free radicals are normally produced, right? So what we need to remember that free radicals are normally produced in our human body. They are normally produced in our human body. What I said, they are normally produced due to incomplete oxidation, incomplete oxidation within mitochondria. So incomplete oxidation within mitochondria. So free radicals are normally produced due to incomplete oxidation within mitochondria, right? So this point we have to understand that normally also our cells are producing free radical, but when the stress is more number of free radical will be produced and they will cause cell damage or they will cause cell injury, right? So free radicals, what are the free radicals? To understand how these free radicals are going to cause damage in our cell. To understand that, first we should know the definition of the free radical. How we are going to define so that we can understand. So what is the definition of the free radical? If you look at the definition of the free radicals are defined as any chemical species, any chemical species, right, with unpaired electron. Unpaired, remember, unpaired electron, where? In their outer orbit. Outer orbit. Unpaired electron in their outer orbit. Remember, this is very important concept. Unpaired electron. So what are free radical? Any chemical species with unpaired electron in their outer orbit. Unpaired electron in their outer orbit is called as free radical. Why we should know this definition? Why we should know this definition? So that we can understand what should be the mechanism of action for any free radical, right? So that is very important to understand what will be mechanism of action. When you know that there is an unpaired electron, then only you can predict what will be mechanism of action of the free radical. So to understand mechanism of action of any free radical, that is very important. We should know the definition. Unpaired electron, because of the electron, it's a simple rule of chemistry. When there is an electron, they will cause oxidation. When there will be hydrogen, they will cause reduction. So here electron is there, so they will cause oxidative damage, right? So electron is there, that is why mechanism of action of free radical is by oxidative damage. By oxidative damage, because electron is there, so mechanism of action will be by oxidative damage. So by oxidative damage, that is why, if you remember, just now I have told you, what is another name of free radical? Look at this one. What is another name of free radical? I have written here, another name of free radical is oxidant. So that is why they are called as oxidant, because they are having electron in their outer orbit, and electron has a tendency to cause damage of the cell by oxidation. By oxidation. That is why oxidant, right? So that is why free radicals are considered as oxidant. So now we were talking about mechanism of action is by oxidative damage. The question comes to our mind, what kind of damage, or which will be damaged? Which structure of the cell will be damaged by the free radical? So now we can see that when free radicals are produced, they will cause damage of which structure of the cell? So I am showing you a cell and then a nucleus, right? So I'm showing you a cell and nucleus. So oxidative damage of what structure? So they will cause damage of, number one, they will cause damage of cell membrane. They will cause damage of cell membrane. So they will cause damage of cell membrane. Now question is whether they will cause any damage to the cytoplasm also. Answer is yes, everything. So all cytoplasmic proteins. So second thing will be cytoplasmic proteins. Cytoplasmic proteins and their organelle, right? So cytoplasmic proteins and their organelle, right? So all these things will be damaged by free radical. Membrane will be damaged, organelle will be damaged, cytoplasmic proteins will be damaged. They will also cause damage of the nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane. So nuclear membrane damage. Inside the nucleus, what is present? Chromatin. What is chromatin having? DNA. So chromatin and DNA will be also damaged by them. So this is also important to understand. So fourth thing is nuclear chromatin, which is consisting of DNA. So that is why I am writing chromatin or DNA damage. So that is the mechanism of action of any free radical. So free radicals are normally produced, but when there is a schema and hypoxia, they will be more produced. They have electron in their outer orbit. Because of electron, they will cause damage, oxidative damage. That is why they are also known as oxidant. Oxidative damage of whom? Of the oxidative damage of the cell membrane, proteins, organelles, nuclear membrane, nuclear chromatin, DNA. All these things will be target of free radical. Mean to say that everything will be damaged by the free radicals. So that is why cell injury is very important to understand with respect to the free radical. So free radical is the reason for damage of any cell, and that is why cellular injury is happening. And these are the areas, or these are the targets of the free radical where they will be acting upon, right? As I said, free radicals are normally produced in our body. So now question comes to our mind, what are the free radicals present in our human body? And if they are normally produced, then what are the certain substances who will be opposing them, right? So there are certain opposition factor also against these free radicals, right? So we will make a table to understand these two things in our body. Free radicals, so see what I'm writing here. Free radicals, as I have told you, free radicals are called as oxidant, right? Free radicals are called as oxidant, so which is normally produced in our body. So there are certain substances which are present in our human body which will prevent the damage caused by the free radical. So oxidants counterpart will be given by antioxidants. So it is antioxidants. So oxidants and antioxidants. So in our human body there are two things which we have to keep in mind. One is oxidant and second is antioxidant, right? So what are the free radicals? What are the free radicals we know? So it is hydroxyl free radical, number one, in our human body, hydroxyl free radical. Second is hydrogen peroxide free radical. Then there is a superoxide free radical. Then there is a peroxynitrite free radical. This is peroxynitrite. So this one I am writing because it's difficult to remember. Peroxynitrite, right? So peroxynitrite free radical. So these are the four important free radicals which may be present in our human body. So question had been asked in AIMS 2016, which is the most reactive free radical in your human body? Most reactive free radical out of these four. So always remember, hydroxyl is the most reactive free radical in human body. So this is the most reactive free radical in human body, and that was the question in AIMS 2016, right? So make a note of this point, which is the most reactive? Most reactive is hydroxyl free radical, right? So hydroxyl free radical is the most reactive. So these are the free radicals which have tendency to damage our cell and their structures. So there are certain substances who will prevent the damage caused by free radical, and they are called as antioxidants. So question is, what are antioxidants? Vitamins, enzymes, or proteins, or all of the above? Answer should be all of the above. Vitamins, proteins, enzymes, all are antioxidants. So now we will see what are vitamins, what are enzymes, and what are the proteins, right? So antioxidants, as I said, these are vitamins. So antioxidants can be vitamins A, antioxidants can be certain proteins and it can be certain enzymes also. So there are three things we have to keep in mind which are antioxidant: vitamins, proteins, enzymes. Which vitamin? Which vitamin is considered as an antioxidant? So for that we have to remember vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. So these are three vitamins which are an antioxidant, right? So vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. This was JIPMER question, right? So vitamin A, C, E, A, C, E, antioxidants, right? Proteins. When you see source of free radical, from where they are produced, any kind of injurious stimuli, and injurious stimuli can be because of certain elements present in our human body like iron, copper. So if iron copper is causing damage, so there are certain carrier proteins which can combine with iron or copper, and then they will take them to the liver, and then it will be detoxified or they will be neutralized. So which proteins? Carrier proteins. Which carrier protein for iron? What is the carrier protein for iron? What is the carrier protein for copper? So carrier protein for iron is transferrin. So transferrin is a carrier protein which is considered as an antioxidant, right? So transferrin, as I said, transferrin will carry iron. So it is an antioxidant. It will prevent damage caused by iron. Transferrin is a carrier protein for iron. Same way, ceruloplasmin. Ceruloplasmin is a carrier protein for copper. Ceruloplasmin is a carrier protein for copper, and keep these things in your mind. These were All India question in 2017 and 16, right? Which of the following carrier protein is an antioxidant? Both of the above is the carrier protein which will be antioxidant. Ceruloplasmin for copper, transferrin for iron, right? Coming to the enzymes. What are the enzymes which will be acting as an antioxidant? There are three important enzymes which I am going to write here. Number one is catalase. Number two is glutathione. And number three is superoxide dismutase. Superoxide dismutase. Right? So this is superoxide dismutase. So these are three enzymes. So these are three enzymes which are antioxidant: catalase, glutathione peroxidase, and superoxide dismutase. What is the question which examiner had asked in All India exam 2 or 3 times from the 2014 onwards? Consecutive question and important MCQ. We should remember all these three enzymes. All these three enzymes are peroxisomal enzyme. Number one, all three are peroxisomal enzyme. Peroxisomal. That was the question in All India exam. Mind the language. What examiner had asked? Which of the following is peroxisomal enzyme? And answer was all three: catalase, glutathione peroxidase, superoxide dismutase. All. Always keep that in your mind. All three: catalase, glutathione peroxidase, superoxide dismutase, all are present inside the peroxisomes. Right? This is one question. There was another good question in All India 2015. Out of all these antioxidants which we have seen here, vitamins, carrier proteins, enzymes, which is the most potent antioxidant in human body? Most potent antioxidant in human body. That was the question. And remember, glutathione is the most potent antioxidant. So this point also we have to keep in mind. Glutathione is the most potent antioxidant in human body. Right? So that was the question in All India exam. Most potent antioxidant in human body is the glutathione. Right? So that was the answer. Glutathione is the most potent antioxidant. Keep this in mind. This was the All India question. So we can see Ames question was, which is the most potent free radical? Most reactive free radical was hydroxyl free radical. And what is the most potent antioxidant is glutathione. So now we can understand what kind of a sequence is going on in examiner's mind. So how this topic is important, you can understand. free radical, right? So free radical, their counteraction is by antioxidant. They will prevent the damage. So in our normal human body, there is a balance between free radical and antioxidant. And when this balance will be having imbalance, then cell injury will happen, right? Then cell injury will happen. And who is the reason for this imbalance? Most common cause, ischemia. Most common cause, hypoxia, right? So in this, I want to tell you one extra age information. Superoxide dismutase, this enzyme, superoxide dismutase, is responsible for protection of the brain from the free radical damage, right? That was another older All India question. Ki brain protection from the free radical damage. So it will be protecting brain. So brain protection from free radical damage. So brain is protected from free radical damage by virtue of which of the following enzyme? This is the question. So whenever superoxide dismutase will be present, it will be protecting brain from the free radical damage. And if there is a mutation in this superoxide dismutase gene, suppose this SOD gene is having mutation, then what is the clinical relevance? That is another important MCQ. If there is a mutation in SOD gene, then which disorder you will see? A motor neuron disease. Which motor neuron disease? Which motor neuron disease is caused by SOD mutation? Because of the SOD gene mutation, brain is not protected. There will be damage, and that is called as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. That motor neuron disease is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. So here we have to understand, because of this mutation, which disorder you will see? Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. So amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is an example of motor neuron disease. So this motor neuron disease is because of SOD gene mutation, right? So this motor neuron disease is because of SOD gene mutation. So as I was telling you, cell injury is most commonly caused by ischemia, hypoxia, and because of ischemia, hypoxia, free radicals are produced. When free radicals are more in number or more in quantity, they will cause cellular damage, right? Before we move to the next topic, right, I want to tell you one extra information, which was the question in All India as well as AIMS exam. Question was, due to hypoxia, so this extra age information, which I am going to write here, this extra age information is, due to hypoxia, which tissue is most susceptible? Which tissue is most susceptible to hypoxic injury? Which one, right? So question was, which is the most susceptible tissue to the hypoxia? So this extra information we have to keep in mind. So examiner had given three options: neurons, then second is the cardiac tissue, and third one is the fibroblast. So out of these three, which is most susceptible? To understand that, we have to understand what is the limitation of the neuron, means what is the survival time. Ideally I should say, what will be survival time of the neurons under complete hypoxic situation? What is the survival time for the cardiac tissue? What will be survival time for the fibroblast? So when we are talking about the neurons, survival time, so I am writing here, survival time in complete hypoxia for neurons are 3 to 4 minutes. This is the older AIMS question also. Remember, 3 to 4 minutes. This was the older AIMS question. Under complete hypoxia or ischemia, neurons will survive for 3 to 4 minutes. And cardiac tissue, another All India question. Cardiac tissue will be surviving for 20 to 40 minutes. 20 to 40 minutes. And on an average, when you will see the average value, it should be considered as 30 minutes, right? This was the older All India question, 30 minutes. Cardiac tissue survival time is 30 minutes. Mind the language what I am using now. Cardiac tissue survival time is 30 minutes. This was the All India question. Many times this question had been repeated. But recently in DNB and NEET exam, question had been asked like this. Okay, cardiac tissue survival time will be 20 minutes, 40 minutes. Both options were there. Then what should be right answer? In those situations, examiner wants your presence of mind. What presence of mind says that maximum duration of the survival of the cardiac tissue should be chosen as a better answer. That is the 40 minutes. So when examiner asks question like this and you have to choose a single better answer, your answer must be 40 minutes. And that was the DNB question previous year. 40 minutes. Fibroblasts, they will survive from hours to days. So they will be surviving from hours to days. So now you can see that when examiner had asked this question in AIMS exam, which is most susceptible to the ischemia hypoxia, which tissue is most susceptible to ischemia hypoxia, your answer must be neurons are most susceptible. Remember, neurons are most susceptible to the ischemia or hypoxia, right? So neurons are most susceptible to ischemia or hypoxia, and their survival time, which was again all India AIMS question, 3 to 4 minutes. So this is the important thing which we have to keep in mind, right? So we have seen cell injury is because of hypoxia, ischemia, due to the free radical production. But when we will see the next topic, cell injury, we can divide them into two categories, reversible and irreversible, right? Based on nature and duration of the stimuli. If duration is for transient shorter period, it will be causing reversible injury, and when duration is persistent, they will undergo irreversible injury, right? So next topic we are going to discuss about reversible and irreversible cell injury.